Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Super Quantum deck. So I'm really excited for this one because it's been a little while since I actually updated this one. It's a really fun deck that basically is Go-Go Power Rangers, the deck. It's a super cool deck that basically makes a really big King Magius, or Magnus. It's a really awesome deck that makes this awesome big big card. Great Magnus is an awesome card, and it just basically becomes a mistake, and the more materials you have on it, the bigger it gets, the more effects it gets. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this one. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Super Quantum White Layer. So Super Quantum White Layer is a really interesting card that lets you send a non-light, basically another copy of this, because they're all different attributes, to the graveyard, and then it becomes, you can send one non-light attribute, Super Quantum, from your hand or face from your field to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand in defense position, which is really good to be able to put this card on the field to have it as material. And then also, when this card is normal or special summon, you can send a Super Quantum monster from your deck to your graveyard, and if you do, this card's attribute and level become the same as that monster. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Super Quantum Fairy from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and it's just really versatile, and really was what the deck needed when it came out, and really helps out what this deck does. And then we play 3 copies of Super Quantum Red Layer. Red Layer is kind of like a Cyber Dragon. If you control no monster, you can special summon it from your hand, and then when it's normal or special summon, you can target a Super Quantum card in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can target Super Quantum in your graveyard except another copy of itself and special summon it, but it cannot activate its effects. Not that big of a deal. Then we play 3 copies of Super Quantum Green Layer. I play 3 Green Layer. I see a lot of people playing just 2 Green Layer, but I feel like 3 is a better number for this deck. When it's normal or special summoned, you can special summon a Super Quantum from your hand. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can discard another copy of Super Quantum and then draw a card. So it really thins out the deck a little bit and really helps you get your Super Quantums out of your hand so you can link into your Blaster Magnia, which can be awesome to be able to do. 3 copies of Blue Layer, which Blue Layer is a really good card that when it's normal or special summoned, you can add a Super Quantum from your deck to your hand. And then it also has the effect of, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can target up to 3 Super Quantums in your grave and shuffle them into the deck. So it kind of helps you rebuild your resources and grind out the game a little bit. Then we play 3 copies of Super Quantum Fairy. The Fairy is super good and super cute. What it does is you can target a Super Quantum monster you control, and all face-up monsters you currently control become that monster's level. You contribute it to reveal 3 Super Quantum monsters with different names in your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one of them, and you special summon it to your side of the field. Send the rest to the graveyard. Really good effect to be able to just search and special summon, and be able to just, put those 3 Super Quantums, or be able to change the levels and level manipulate your Super Quantums to be able to overlay into your different monsters that you might need. Then we play 3 copies of Volcanic Shell. Volcanic Shell is something that I was playing last time that I still feel like is pretty good in the deck. Basically what it does is it helps you pay costs for your Super Quantum mech ship. Basically, you just pay the 500, and you have to discard something to activate its particular ability to target a Super Quantum monster. And then you special summon your extra deck a different Super Quantum Beast. So basically, this card pays the cost for it. You could potentially drop it if you wanted to for something else, but it also helps us with link plays as well as thinning the deck a little bit to get into what we need. And for the last 3 monsters that we play, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is really good because you just want to be able to hand trap your opponent and stop your opponent from doing all sorts of shenanigans against us. So if that's it for the monsters, guys, let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is so good in this deck. Basically what it does is it lets us go into Millenniumize Restrict or Thousand-Eyes Restrict as a material, because you do need to have 3 monsters on the field to go into your Super Quantum Mech King Blaster Magnia. I know that's a mouthful to say that. But basically what that does is it puts you on your side of the field, a Thousand-Eyes Restrict, gobbles up an opponent's monster, and baits your opponent. And then also you can normal summon something like Green Layer, and then go Green Layer, special summon something from your hand, and then instantly go into a Blaster Magnia on turn 1. Extremely easily. So Instant Fusion is a good 3 of. The other targets for your Instant Fusion are also Sea Monster of Thestalos and your Millenniumize Restrict, to be able to kind of bait your opponent out of using hand traps against you, because it can stop hand traps. Then we play 3 copies of Called by the Grave because we don't want to get hand traps. Speaking of hand traps, Monster Reborn to kind of revive our monsters so we can, you know, overlay them and make other stuff with them. Really cool thing is you can actually, you know, use them with your King Magius or Magnus to be able to go into different stuff. Foolish Burial because you want to be able to send the fairy to grave, and your Volcanic Shells to the graveyard so you can kind of thin your deck a little bit. One copy of 1-for-1 to get the fairy directly out of your deck, to get the Super Quantum Fairy directly out of the deck onto the your side of the field. This card is super pivotal to the deck to be able to play as a one-of. One copy of Terraforming, because Terraforming is at 1 now, to be able to get your base out of the deck. One copy of Emergency Teleport, because it's like playing the 5th copy with 1-for-1 of the fairy, because it is a psychic type monster, or excuse me, it's a fairy type monster. I am mistaken. It actually gets out your Super Quantum Blue layer out of the deck, not the fairy. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. So it's kind of like playing a 4th copy of the Super Quantum Blue layer to be able to get an extra monster onto your side of the field. Then we also play the Super Quantum Mech Ship Magna Carrier. Magna Carrier is really good to be able to use in this deck because you can discard a card and then target a Super Quantum monster you control and then special summon from your extra deck a different one, different XYZ monster. So like if I have the green one, I can special summon the red one and kind of rank it up, or I can go into Luster Rex or something like that. And you use this material, and then you can send this card from your field spell zone to the graveyard, and then target 3 Super Quantum Mech Beast monsters that are XYZ monsters with different names in your graveyard, and or you control, and then special summon 1 Super Quantal Mech King Great Magius from your extra deck, and if you do, you attach those targets as materials to it, and any materials that they currently have to him, which can be really, really good to be able to get all those materials onto your Super Quantum Mech King Great Magius. I actually said that right for once. So it's a really, really good ability on that card to be able to just get it out, and you want to get that card out as quickly as possible. So let me play 3 copies of Super Quantum Alpha Call Appeal, or Alpha Call Appeal. If you control, or if a Super Quantum monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon a Super Quantum Mech Beast XYZ monster from your extra deck. Then you can special summon a Super Quantum from your deck, hand, deck, or grave that's specifically listed on that XYZ monster in its text. So basically it special summons the beast, and then it also summons the pilot for the beast as well, so you have both of them on the field, so you can kind of do what you need to do and go into the Blaster King Magna, or go into other plays as well. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps, which we only play 2 traps in this entire deck. So we're going to be playing a single copy of Metaverse to be able to get our copy of the field spell out, and a single copy of Super Quantum Mech Sword Magna Slayer. Magna Slayer helps us OTK. You can target a Super Quantum XYZ monster and equip to this card, and it gains 100 attack for times its rank, which is really cool because you can get your Blaster or your Magna King or Magnus King all the way up to 12. It goes up to 4,600 with this card, and then you can send it to the graveyard, and then the equipped monster that was equipped with this card can attack 3 times during that battle phase, which is really cool. It just helps you OTK, and it gets your big monsters even bigger. So, really good card as a one-of in the deck. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Neo's Super Quantal Mech King Blaster Magnia. My goodness, that's a long name. But it has the ability that you can have 2 effect monsters, including Super Quantum monsters, to summon this card. So the instant fusion targets for your Thousand Eyes and Millennium Eyes, and even your Sea Monster of Thessalos, even though we're usually going to use that as a material for our copy of the Super Quantum Mech King or Mecha Beast Magna Liger. We're usually going to use it for the red layer one. You can use it to summon this card, and it also has it has one of the best cards in the effect, or it has one of the best effects in the entire deck. Then when it's link summoned, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and each time a Super Quantum XYZ monster with a different name this card can points to is special summoned, which is really cool. From the into the zone it points to, you get to draw a card, and if this XYZ or if a face-up XYZ monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or by opponent's card effects, you can special summon a Super Quantum monster from your deck with the same original type. So basically, in a nutshell, if the red one gets destroyed under it, you can special summon a red layer from your deck, which is really cool. And then that just helps replace it, and the zones help you so much that you just want to put this card on field as quickly as possible. I play a single copy of Boral Sword because Boral Sword helps me OTK so much. Linkuriboh is the only other Link monster I play because it helps me with the fairy, that you can just put this on the field and then just, you know, go for what you need to. I play a single copy of Super Quantum Mech King Great Magnus, or Magus. Really, really, really cool. Magnus is such a good card that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon three Super Quantum Mech Beast XYZ monsters with different names from your graveyard. And it gains following effects depending on the materials it has. If it has 2 or more, once per turn during the player's turn, you can detach a material from this card to shuffle a card on the field into the deck. 4 more is unaffected by other card effects except other Super Quantum cards. And then 6 or more, your opponent can add cards from their deck to their hand. This card is such a good card to be able to stun your opponent and just be able to make it a mistake on the field. And it's just such a good card. Super Quantum Red Layer, the Beast Magna Liger. We play double Magna Liger. Magna Liger is the one that I usually go into. It can't attack unless it has materials, and then you can target one XYZ monster this card, or you can detach a material from this card to target a monster on the field and destroy it. And if this card is activated during either player's turn, if this card has Super Quantum Red Layers and material, then once per turn you can attach a Super Quantum monster from your hand or field to this card as material. We play 2 copies of Luster Rex. Luster Rex is another one of those really, really, really good 2-ofs in this deck. You could probably get away with one of these because I don't summon it all that much, but you really want to play it at, you know, some number, at least one of. It can't attack unless it has material, and then once per turn, you can detach a material from this card and then target one effect monster on the field and negate that face-up monster's effect until the end phase of the turn. And then it can be a quick effect if it has white layer on it. And then once per turn, you can attach a material like the Liger. Then we play 2 copy of Ouroboros. 2 Ouroboros. Again, this is probably one that you might be able to get away with in 1-of, but I like it so much as a 2-of that I just played as a 2-of. Once per turn, you can detach a material from it, then target another face-up monster on field and change it to face-down defense. It's basically Book of Moon. Like, this is monster negation, this pops something, this is Book of Moon. And then the Grampulse, which is the water monster I only play as a 1-of. Grampulse is essentially MST. You just pop a card by detaching material from it. For my instant fusion targets, I play Sea Monster of Thestalos because you can use it to make Liger. And then a copy of Millennium Eyes and Thousand Eyes because you can use these in conjunction with your Linkuriboh, and you can use them to kind of bait out your opponent's plays so you can go into your Super Quantum Mech King Great Magus. No, I was not peeking to make sure I was making the name correct because that is a long, long name. I usually just call it Great Magnus. But that's pretty much it for the deck, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below. Really interesting deck. If you guys ever watched Power Rangers when you were younger, you guys will definitely love this deck. It's a super cool deck, and I really love the way it plays, that you're basically trying to make your big boss monster as quickly as possible, and it works really well at summoning that really big boss monster to make it unaffected by card effects, unaffected, and makes it so your opponent can add stuff to their hand. It's one of the most influential boss monsters to summon with different cards in this deck, so it's just such a good card, and it can shut down your opponent so easily. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.